Keano and Mangs. Snow season is very much approaching.
It's pretty much like this weekend, man.
Snow season is this weekend. So in this episode today, we're going to set up our kits as well as Binx's kit for her in preparation for our shred on Sunday, which there'll be a video on, obviously, as the first day of the season.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We've got 6 boards to do, 8 boards in total.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get cracking.
Just be a compilation of us setting stuff up, explaining how it's done. You might get to see me de-wax my board, which would be cool. And yeah, we can get cracking.
Might go through the different types of boards because they're all different.
A lot in this pile in front of us. And over there.
And down there. Alright, we'll get into it.
Alright, so in front of me is one of my very first boards that I've bought. It is a Flow Merc. I used this one when I was in Canada, mostly for my park and general or mountain riding. This is the base. It's pretty
it's wrecked.
It's pretty wrecked.
It's straight up wrecked. That's alright, it works.
What you're gonna need is a screwdriver,
Phillips head,
and then your bolts, which come with your bindings. Yes, I have 2 bindings. A left and a right. Make sure you put them on the right side. Has been done by this one.
Everybody has got. Anybody who's ever had a snowboard has probably put them on the wrong parts. Or done it goofy when they meant to have them natural.
Oh yeah.
And they've done that.
And then your little disc plates which go on the inside of the binding. First thing you're going to do is open up your bindings. And then you'll see on the inside, this is where our disc belongs. Now, there is a set of numbers on such a little disc. It's probably really hard to see, honestly.
15, 0, 15.
Cool. So they're positive and negative 15, and each little notch on it is equivalent to 3 degrees. Now, I always get this wrong in terms of which way to put it. For me, everyone's different. It's something that I definitely learned when I was in Canada. For me, I'm most comfortable riding in a 12-12 stance, but everyone's different. So what I'm doing here is I've set it into 12 degrees with the little arrow on my disc, and then we've got our faceplate holes. Again, everyone's width is different. I know what mine is, and you can sort of see the outline of where my bindings have been sitting on my board as to, it's just been, it's had a lot of love. So it's pretty easy for me to work out where I need it to be. This is at the standard width as well, which is 21 inches.
Yeah, it's probably best for everybody that they sort of... Generally the idea is to sort of almost be in a squat kind of position, so your ankles and your knees and your shoulders sort of all generally line up. But if you're me, I like to ride quite wide between the bindings.
The gorilla. Still don't know how to do it. Anyway, now grab our 4 screws, 1 for each little piece. So I'm just going to line up my screws, my screw holes. Sometimes I find it a little tough love works.
Yeah. You don't exactly need to be gentle with them. I mean, unless it's like a brand new board and you don't want to be scratching up your top sheet. But again, your bindings end up covering all your scratch holes anyway, so
the way I do it is I start to get them to tighten up a little bit. Oops, just so you can feel it really latch in for each one, and making sure that each screw goes in properly, because you don't want to get 3 in and then have one that just doesn't go in and then you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
And then once all 4 are in, then you can start to tighten them up a bit. And really you can just make sure they're super tight, because you do not want these things getting loose once you are out there, that's for sure.
Nothing worse than a loosey-goosey.
Also, I find that if your screws are starting to strip, so if they're twisted a little bit, which mine are, the best way to combat that is to use an elastic band and stick the elastic band in here and then put the screwdriver on top. It creates enough friction for it to actually hold.
I can't say I've ever heard that one before. Yeah. Little trick you learnt in Canada?
Yeah, when my bindings got stuck when I was trying to take them off. Alright, so that one's done. I like to just reset them. It's nice and easy to store them like this. And voila, now I can move on to the back foot. just a list of places that I've snowboarded at. Humble brag.
That's upside down.
Red Mountain, Silver Star, Big White, my home, and then this one was Queenstown, New Zealand. Again, get that little plate. I like to sit my binding in first, and then make sure we line it up properly.
Well, we'll just note that Dan's bindings are pretty old now.
And a size too big.
Yeah. They're not in the best condition.
I've seen a lot of, I reckon they're close to like 100 days now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, probably not 100 days of riding. Like they've
Gone through a fair bit.
But they've done me proud.
They're close.
Yeah, Japan.
They definitely go close. Japan, think about all the trips at Hotham and
Queenstown, and then a lot in Canada.
a lot of day trips as well.
I reckon they'd be around 100.
Yeah, they'd be pushing 100.
I'm not sure what your life expectancy is on the binding, but they've done me well for what they.
I know Union quote 100 days, like bomb-proof bindings. So maybe 100 days is like the standard max, yeah. I mean, during a season, what do we get on ours? Like,
I don't know, 10 or probably like 15 days for a season.
yeah.
If we're lucky, if we get time off. And
My Contact Pros would be pretty close.
yeah.
I've had them for a long time. For a very long time.
Okay. Finished.
Woo!
And then pop this back in. And that is one down.
I can't believe I once did a video on this all by myself. It was very hard.
I bet.
Filming was a nightmare. So tell us about your flow.
Alright, so my flow is a hybrid camber board.
Which means
that it's... Oh, I'm probably going to get this wrong now. It's camber, rocker, camber.
that's correct.
So the way that the board works is that it's probably hard to see because it's been modified, the board, but you would have your camber and then your rocker and camber.
Yeah.
So it would be like a wave underneath the board.
It's like camber up in underneath your feet, both feet, which is kind of like a is it concave or convex?
Looks like that.
Yeah. What?
Otherwise,
It goes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in the middle is the rocker, which goes the opposite way, which is like a bump down into the snow.
Yeah. Think about the camber as like a rainbow on your feet.
Yeah.
A rainbow.
Yeah.
Rainbow, upside down rainbow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty good for the people that are starting out. I find it's the best sort of camber profile for your beginner to intermediate, where you want to progress. Just because it gives you a lot of control in different like areas on the mountain. Whether you're just trying to turn or you're learning to turn, it just keeps you off your edges a bit. This flow in particular has a urethane base and sidewall, which just gives it a bit more push control as well. So it really keeps you off your edges. Really keeps you just flat. It's got a really good control when you're at speed too. However, like I said, I modified this when I was in Canada. So I took it to a stage 3 tune, which means that it's off its edges completely down. So it just spins.
It does.
Doesn't
It has.
catch on this.
There is
table
no
at all.
catching whatsoever. I'm pretty sure if we put one of our niches down,
We cut the table up.
cut the table up. Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason I did this was I wanted this board to be my park board, because I got a bit more into park in Canada. I started hitting some bigger stuff.
You can tell with all the grabby holds.
Yeah, that's actually not a grab. That was a really dumb placement, but you live and you learn. Yeah, I got more into park, so I wanted to do a bit more park riding, and this tune helped me get off my edges. So when I'm hitting boxes and that kind of thing, when I'm trying to hit a slide, board slide, I'm not catching and then face planting, and it ruins my confidence too. So this really helped with my confidence, and then I started hitting some really big stuff in Canada. So that's my flow.
That's the flow. That's one down.
Yeah.
All of them to go. This board is my Nitro Viking. It is a park board, pretty much. Bit of all terrain, I suppose, bit of all mountain. Nitro Viking one-off from 2006. It's pretty cool. It's recently been waxed. It has seen very much better days.
Yeah.
Very much better days. But I've had it for a few years now. There is a really cool like inlay picture. I really don't know if that's picking up, but there's...
Yeah, solid.
Check my Instagram, there's some photos on it from a while ago on my Instagram. This is a 154. It is a full camber board. So camber being from between the feet, under the feet, and that's it. There's no, like, not like Dan's where there's a rocker, which is the reverse camber between here and here. It is just a straight camber board. Benefits between rocker and camber, it's kind of a personal preference, to be honest. A lot of people say that, like as Dan said, the hybrid version is very much a very good intermediate beginner way, and it is. And cambers are very much more, it's a little bit more difficult because it's very bitey. So as you're making turns, the camber will dig in a lot more. But that's why people go for the hybrid system. My brand new board that I got is a hybrid system. I'm very excited about it. These are also my brand new bindings. They are Union Stripes. Very excited about them. Very lightweight, which is good. Lot of cushion in the pushing. They are an aggressive all-mountain binding. And my other bindings that I have were just like a straight all-mountain, but started to really soften up because again, they're quite a few years old now. So it was a great upgrade. Got these for Christmas, so I was pretty excited. So I'm just going to stick them on. As Dan says earlier that we have the angles. I normally ride like Dan, 12 and 12, which is just like an easy two-way riding system. Now, you can see how my stance has progressed. I don't remember how far apart I used to have it. This is a mini disc. There's different forms of this. This is a universal one, I think. The 4x2, which is just the bolt pattern. There's the 4x4, and then there's the channel. I've got a board that we have to do that has a channel. It's a Burton thing, but that's what basically these two are for. It's just a weird channel instead of the bolts.
Small disc is definitely better than your larger disc.
You reckon?
Yeah, only because it creates less of a dead spot in your board. So it just means that, like you can see here, it only creates the 4 points as being a complete non-flex zone, where if you have a bigger size disc, that's more spot or more area on the board that's going to be dead.
So I like to screw mine in quite loose and then actually test the board out. But I just like to sort of feel it out. Like twist my knees like that. It's sort of a different feeling. It might feel a bit weird to begin with, but you can get an idea of how your board's sort of going to feel when you're on the snow.
Alright, so we're going to do my Nitro Quiver. Bad boy, the Nitro Quiver Fusion. It is a powder all-mountain board. It is very, very fun to ride. Just before I left Canada, I didn't know when I was going to be riding it next, so I did a storage wax on it, which is pretty much like your normal wax, but instead of scraping the wax off, you just leave it on. And it just sits there, and it doesn't ruin your base or anything. It just sort of keeps it in a storage format. And then to get it from there to being able to ride, all you gotta do is scrape it off. Now I have like a surfboard scraper thingy that I'm going to use to scrape off the wax. Should be super easy.
You made a mess. That's all the storage wax on Dan's board. Looks like snow.
These are some Rome Vice bindings. And they're a collab with Degenerati, which is another brand. Pretty rad saying, the only law of the universe is cruel and unbridled chaos. Which is pretty crazy. And this is what the back looks like. It's cool little pictures in there. Not really sure what it is, but it's pretty cool. I quite like them. They're really nice binding. They're about a mid-flex binding, and they just feel amazing when you ride them. It just gives you heaps of control. Could be because they're the right size for my boot. Sort of swimming in my ride bindings a little bit.
While Dan does that, I might take you guys through these ones. So, not these, not this one, or this one just yet. They're the special ones, aren't they, Dan?
Yeah, they're really special ones.
They're our special ones. So this is Bianca's GNU Classy. It's got a really cool graphic, as you can see. Mervyn made by Mervyn Manufacturing. They make GNU, LibTech, bent metal bindings. So this one is a very similar to Dan's board that he's setting up right now. As you can sort of see, they have a very similar tip and tail setup, where the tip is a pointy one and the tail is squared off. It's the same with my slash underneath, but we'll get to that soon. So this is a 151 centimeters, so it's obviously a girl's board, it's a bit different. The camber profile is a camber hybrid, so the same as Dan's Flow, but it's the more aggressive version, so it has slightly more camber and slightly less rocker in the middle. Bianca rode a few boards last season just to sort of get a feel before she settled on this one, and she really likes it. Bianca does tend to ride quite a freestyle focus. She's not so much into park or tricks or anything like that.
Just an all-mountain rider.
Yeah, she's just an all-mountain aggressive rider.
A bit of power.
Loves a bit of power, that's for sure. So this was definitely the board for her. We paired that with some bag of bindings.
A lot of bindings.
With some Union Legacies. They're pretty nice binding. They, again, they're the women's version of my bindings, the SHREDITS over there. They are mid-flex, slightly over mid-flex. So the board is a 6.5 out of 10. The bindings are again about a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7, kind of depends. But yeah, so she really likes that. She's only ridden it twice, I think. She got to have a go on it last season, maybe once, I can't remember. She's super keen to get that. So we're going to get this one set up for her as well. Underneath this one is her old board, and this one is a Burton Tattletale. This was a limited run board by Burton from Burton Backyard, even though it's upside down. There we go, Backyard, Burton Backyard. Yeah, it's a pretty cool graphic. This one, the difference between this one was a straight up rocker, so it doesn't have any camber whatsoever, so it just bends in the middle and just keeps going up. Again, it's got quite a spoony nose, so that board's a directional board, meaning it can technically go that way, but because of the blunted tail and the way the camber is set up and the stiffness in the setup is different, so it generally likes to head in one direction. This board is a twin directional, so again it does like to go this way, but can also go that way because of the tail. Both of those boards over there are both twin. Yes, that's a direction.
Finished now.
Done. So yeah, Burton. The difference between this one and the others, they all have obviously the holes. This one has the channel setup. We're not a super big fan of the channel setup.
It's different.
Burton continue to absolutely swear by it. Obviously Burton being probably the biggest snowboard brand in the world.
I'd say so.
I'd say so. only given the fact that they make literally everything. Anything you can think of that's snowboard related, they make it. So yeah, that was a really good board. That was her first board that she bought, that we bought together. We've got some Burton bindings in there because Burton at the time were the only bindings that had the channel setup. We'll do the setup on that in a minute, and I'll sort of go through the pros and cons. And Daniel's turn.
Hello. Alright, so this is my Nitro Quiver Fusion. We have set it up now. It's got my Generati bindings on it. As Liam said, this is a directional board, and our camber is a flat out camber, which means it's mostly a flat board with a tiny little bit of camber. It is a weapon in powder. It is only a 7 flex. There is one board that is above this in the powder board range of Nitro. That's a wood carver, which is what Robbo rides.
You can see that in an older video of mine.
Yeah. However, having ridden both of them, I rode his when I was in Canada. I found this just to be a bit more fun and more versatile. The wood carver's very...
It's quite stiff. It's very stiff.
It's probably an 8 or a 9. This is a 7.
I found the tail quite stiff.
Yeah, it's a bit more select in that powder, where this is a good all-mountain powder board. I've seen people do crazy things on these boards. I'm very lucky to have one. It was the very last one in our store. It is a collab with Brian Fox and Austin Smith,
who are both absolute legends.
Amazing riders. They ride every board in that quiver range, and yeah, it's a pretty fun board. Can't wait to ride it. I'm probably going to ride this on Sunday and might hit some rocks with it, but that's the reality of snowboarding.
Sure is. That's why I'm taking that one out and not the Precious. This is my Slash. This board was... Whoops. This board was a board that I bought a long time ago. 5 years old, I think, now. It's pretty cool. Slash by Gigi. Gigi Ruff is my favourite rider of all time. Austrian legend. Very good. This board is pretty much identical to Dan's, one that he was just talking about. Difference being, that's a 154. This is a big boy. This is a big boy.
Almost as tall as me.
It's 159 centimeters long. It's called the Straight, the Slash Straight. Again, as you can see, it's got the tail at the back for the powder. It's already got a massive chip in it that's got glued down, which is good. And the big spoon nose. I think it's Mother Earth that's like on the top sheet. It's a really cool top sheet. I've ridden this board for a while. I had it for a long time. I found it to be really unforgiving in Australian snow.
Fun.
You gonna ride this here?
Oh yeah. If we get some powder.
Yeah, true. It's only really good in powder. Channel binding. So Burton has these rails through the board. Pretty much they have this little funny setup. So instead of the disc, it is a clamp down, and it goes in these little rails along the binding. And then you have this part on the bottom, which is your measuring of your how close you want your foot to the front or the back, which is one thing that I guess other boards don't have, do they?
No.
Other binding systems don't have. So you can actually change the distance to your heel side and your toe edge, and then it also does your measuring, which is on the inside in here. So basically what you do is slip it in, slip both of them in, and then you use your reference points on here, get the binding, place it over the 2 bolts into the little slots that are on the sides. Make sure you put your little, for this particular binding, your rail hook underneath, so it's in the actual rail. Make sure you get your sizing right, that best suits you. There is a red line on this one. I just like to go straight in the middle of that, because that's like an even 50-50 split, I suppose. Again, 12 and 12. Move them back a little bit so it's a nice...
We like to use the what method, Liam, for measuring instead of using a tape measure?
Dan has introduced me to the shaka method. So you get your shakas, you put them like that, and just measure them. So from here, that's
2 shakas.
From here, 2 shakas.
It's more about centering.
It's just more about, yeah, exactly. It's more about centering the board. So I might even bring that one back a little bit will admit the one thing about Burton Channel is it is very adjustable compared to a lot of other bindings. There are just some very bad horror stories that you hear about the channel coming loose, and because you don't have that safety latch of having four other screws in there, you do hear about the binding coming off. And when you're snowboarding, that's
ideal.
That's just a deal breaker for me. Like even then, like I've had a couple of screws come loose at the time, but there's always, you know, one fails, there's 3 others. With this, you got 2, and the Burton Channel has been known to rip, actually break off. So you're actually breaking the top sheet of the board off.
So here we are, sitting with 2 boards that don't have bindings on them.
Both manufactured by the same company, the same place. Similar boards in terms of what they do, but 2 very different ways of going about it. So, you start with yours.
Alright, so mine is a niche theme. There is a really good story about this board as to how I obtained it. It was through working in Canada. We just had a staff party and I was voted as the best of the best, I guess.
He is.
For our staff cohort, and I was awarded with this board, which was amazing. So it's a niche theme. It's a traditional camber, which I've never really ridden before, so it's definitely going to be a different experience riding a traditional camber. It is one of those intermediate to advanced boards. The graphic is really awesome. I love the way that Niche create their graphics. Each board has its own coordinate on it, and this one is for the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, which is really awesome. It is more of a All Mountain Park style board. Yeah, cannot wait to ride it. Yeah.
I'm gonna find out what my coordinate is, because I didn't actually know that. I just thought it was like where they were manufactured or something.
Yeah, that's
kind of cool, because mine's a Phoenix. Sorry, well my board's not called a Phoenix, but the picture through it is a Phoenix. So mine's a Niche Aether. It is a very aggressive, all-mountain, free-riding kind of focused board with a bit of freestyle thrown in. Again, made by Niche, same company. It's about a 7 flex, so it's pretty on the stiffer side, on the mid flex. 6.5, I think, is roughly where it sort of sits. It has, as you can maybe see, crazy magnet traction, like insanely aggressive. And basically the catchphrase for magnet traction is turning ice into powder. So basically what it does is it just creates multiple points of contact with the snow. It's a hybrid camber profile, so you got a lot of camber in between the feet with a bit of rocker in the middle. So it's again very similar to Bianca's board that we were sort of explaining. It's obviously a lot more of an aggressive focus. It is a twin shape, so you can ride it both ways. I have heard that the tail is a little stiffer than the tip. So apparently it's a little bit more directional than, say, a full true twin. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think the best part about Niche is all their boards are environmentally manufactured. So these are all recycled or reclaimed wood. The sidewalls are a recycled resin. I can't remember what it's called. The top sheet are made from beans, which is really, really cool. And all the inks that go into the top also are environmentally friendly. The mothership, which is where they're made, which is the same as Capita, and a ton of other companies. A ton of boards are made there. Apparently they are producing some of the best boards in the world at the moment. Examples. They're also fully, I believe they're almost zero waste now.
Yeah.
And
really doing well.
They don't make any carbon emissions, so zero net carbon emissions, so fully done by like wind and solar and all those sorts of energy ways, which is really awesome. But yeah, I am super keen. So we did Google the coordinates. We didn't really understand the significance of it. It was just a weird place in England called Plantation Road in north of Southampton.
Yeah. We'll find out the story and we'll update you.
Yeah.
Hopefully by Sunday.
Maybe. So yeah, that's our boards. We're not going to use them this first day because the coverage might not be fantastic and we don't want to ruin them. So we're going to ride them together at Hotham on our first day, and it'll be special.
It'll be amazing.
It'll be special. So it's going to be fun. The other thing is, have you seen how good the Hotham edit from last year's doing? It's on like 750. It's going to be at 1,000 shortly. That's nuts. What the hell's going on?
Peaking.
It's hilarious.
They're prepping themselves for this year because this year is going to be crazy.
It's going to be an insane year this year. There's only a select few of us going, and I think it's going to be insane.
It's going to be a hard week.
It's going to be a good time. We're going for 9 days in total, so it's going to be fun. Maybe we can get some like tutorial videos down throughout the season, give you guys some tips, that sort of stuff. But mostly I think it'll just be SHREDITS is what it's going to be.
SHREDITS.
From here on, SHREDITS.
Yeah.
We're going to do some SHREDITS from now on. That's what we're going to call it.
Check out our Instas.
Oh yeah, Instas.
Socials. All that.
Yeah.
It'll all be.
Give us a follow, give us a like.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up, like.
Give us the like and the subscribe if you like it.
The comments if you want to say anything, tell me that I'm wrong about anything.
Yeah.
Please say that in the comments.
Get us up in the comments, give us an update on what we said wrong. Comments love that. Yeah.
Boys.